guarantor and protector of our fundamental rights. How Supreme Court ensures in this video, I would like to talk about how Supreme Court acts as a guarantor and protector of our fundamental rights. How Supreme Court ensures and implements or rather help us in protecting our fundamental rights. So, Supreme Court as a guarantor and protector of fundamental rights. Supreme Court as a guarantor and protector of fundamental rights, and that is done through Article 32(2). Because through Article 32(2), Supreme Court can issue orders, directions or writs. Supreme Court can issue orders, directions or writs. Supreme Court can issue orders, directions or writs, including the writs in the nature of habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, quo warranto and certiorari. So, there are 5 writs, 5 types of writs. There are 5 types of writs which can be issued, and these writs, please remember, these writs can be issued under Article 32 by Supreme Court and also under Article 226 by High Courts. So, High Courts and Supreme Court can issue writs, and both will help us in protecting and guaranteeing our fundamental right. But here under Article 32(2), we are specifically talking about Supreme Court, but the same powers are there with the High Court also. I will be coming to that separately, but please remember the writ jurisdiction is available for Supreme Court as well as the High Courts. Now, the 5 writs are there. The first one I would like to talk is habeas corpus. The first writ under Article 32(2) is what we call as the habeas corpus. So, here, as I said, this Article 32(2) talks about any citizen can approach the Supreme Court and various aspects of our fundamental rights. So, how Supreme Court will issue directions to the executive to protect the rights. So, it is the Supreme Court duty to protect the fundamental rights of the individual. So, it will issue orders or writs. So, habeas corpus literally means to have a body. Okay, or meaning produce the person before the court. Produce the person before the court. Bring the person before the court. This is to protect the personal liberty of an individual. This is to protect the personal liberty of an individual. To protect the personal liberty of an individual. So, we would like to protect the personal liberty of an individual against the arbitrary powers of the state, even as against the private individuals. So, protect the liberty of an individual against the state. If the police picks up a person, if the police takes away a person, and if no news about him, if the police illegally confine, or if the police keep them in custody, if a person is kept in custody illegally, then this habeas corpus can be filed against the police, against the state, and this also can be filed against individuals also, private individuals also, against private individuals also. See, if a person is illegally confined in a house by a private individual, imagine parents confining say their daughter, or if she is in a relationship with somebody and the parents are against that, Now, if this daughter is kept at home, illegally confined, see, a grown-up girl cannot be confined to the house, illegally confined, only because of the dadagiri of the parents or the, the rest of the family members. A person cannot be confined to home. So, it can, that is why habeas corpus can be filed against even private individuals. It can be filed against state, against the arbitrary action of both state and the private individuals. Now, another very interesting thing, if a person is under such condition, person is already behind or confined in a room or in the police station, he may not be able to go to the court. Any citizen, okay, an aggrieved person or other any citizen or any person can approach the Supreme Court on behalf of that person who is whose liberty is violated now. So, any person can approach the Supreme Court on behalf of the person whose liberty is violated. So, if a person is missing, if a person is suspected that he has been picked up by the police, or if he is kept in illegal custody by the police or by a private individual, even their own family members, anybody can go to the Supreme Court and say, I suspect so and so is kept illegally in so and so's house or in the police station. If somebody is missing, you may go for filing a complaint to the police. If the police is refusing to file an FIR also, you can go to the Supreme Court saying that so and so is missing, the police is not cooperating, I am in a habeas corpus file, writ can be filed. So, please understand, it is to protect the liberty, Article 21, the life and liberty of the person, and it can be filed against even private individuals, and anybody can approach the court. Not only the person whose rights are violated can approach the court, even a layman, an outsider having no relationship with that person also can approach the court. See, for example, I am just giving a crude example. Suppose you find in your neighbor's house, you suspect that somebody is illegally kept. You can hear some noises, some crying. You suspect that somebody is kept illegally. You need not go to your neighbor and ask who is kept there and all. You can directly approach the Supreme Court and say, I suspect in my neighborhood, in so and so house, I suspect a person is illegally kept. The court will issue an order to the police to find out, and it is the duty of the court to ensure the liberty of that person, and the court may issue a habeas corpus. So, habeas corpus is to protect the right of the person, the liberty of the person. Now, the second writ is called the mandamus. Mandamus means, it literally means the command. Mandamus is the command. This writ is issued against a public authority. Now, this is where, when the state failed to do the duty, if a government department is not doing their duty, the Supreme Court will ask, it will command that officer or the department to do the duty so that our fundamental rights can be protected. A simple example, suppose the municipal corporation of your locality is not picking up the garbage. It is stinking. It is creating trouble, it is spreading diseases. You complain to the local authorities, they did not do anything. You can go to the court. You say, my life is in danger because of not picking up this garbage. So, Supreme Court will issue an order, a command, a mandamus to the concerned authorities, asking them to do their duty. This is mandamus. So, this is a command, and it can be, this is issued against a public authority or an officer, against a public authority or an officer or a subordinate court or an inferior court for enforcing the rights of individuals. For what? This order is issued for what? This mandamus, the command is given for what? Against a public authority or an officer or a subordinate court for enforcing, for the purpose of enforcing the rights of individuals, for the purpose of enforcing the rights of the citizens. So you approach the Supreme Court for enforcing the right. I have a right to have clean and pollution-free air and water. Garbage is not picked. It is polluting our environment. You approach, the Supreme Court will issue an order to an officer or the authority. So that means this mandamus is issued against an officer. This officer had a duty to do. This officer or the office had a duty to do, and the officer failed. The office failed to do the duty. The office failed to do the duty. That is why you approach the court and the court is issuing a mandamus. Earlier, only the aggrieved person can approach the court. Earlier, only the aggrieved can approach the court. But now, after the public interest litigation, but now after PILs, anybody can approach. So the mandamus, see, through mandamus, most of the public interest litigation, you have a public, the public interest, in the interest of the public, somebody is approaching, and the court will issue directions to the government, whether joint entrance exam should be conducted or should not be conducted, all these things. So it's in the public interest, somebody will go to the court, and the court will issue direction to the government. Yes, you conduct it or you don't conduct it. During Corona time, should joint entrance exam should be conducted or not? Somebody approached the court. The court said that you conduct. The court said that, okay, Corona, but taking necessary precautions, joint entrance exam or NEET exam should be conducted. You cannot stop. You cannot endlessly delay and postpone the exam. So a direction, a command has been given by the Supreme Court to the concerned authorities, the NEET exam authority. So mandamus is issued against a public authority, an officer or an inferior court to do the duty for enforcing the rights of the people. So, but this writ cannot be issued against the president or the governors. Please note, this mandamus cannot be issued against the President of India or governors. Okay. And also, mandamus cannot be issued for protecting the private rights. You cannot issue mandamus to a private party. Okay. So this mandamus cannot be issued to a private party. It can be to public authorities. Very clear. Public officer, public authority, or a subordinate court. The writ of mandamus. Then comes the writ of prohibition. The third writ is the writ of prohibition. This is issued by the higher courts. That means by the Supreme Court or the High Court to lower courts or subordinate courts, lower courts or subordinate courts, or to quasi-judicial bodies, quasi-judicial bodies. See, what do you mean by quasi-judicial bodies? Those bodies which are having some judicial function and the executive function. Say, for example, maybe SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India. They have normal executive function, they also have some judicial function. Or TRAI, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. or the Insurance Regulatory Authority of India. So, these bodies can be termed as a quasi-judicial, some judicial function also, but at the same time they have executive function. So, this the issue of prohibition is issued, or rather the writ of prohibition is issued by the higher courts to the lower courts, or to the quasi-subordinate courts, or to the quasi-judicial bodies. And this is the objective is to keep the inferior court or the quasi-judicial bodies within the limits of their respective jurisdiction. To keep, what is the objective? The objective is to keep these bodies within the limit of their jurisdiction. To keep these bodies within the limit of their jurisdiction. They should not cross their jurisdiction. If they go beyond their jurisdiction, if suppose a quasi-judicial body or a lower court is hearing a case, and in the process they have crossed their jurisdiction, they have gone beyond their power, they have gone beyond their limit, and they are misinterpreting the powers given to them, or they are stepping into somebody else's powers, then the aggrieved party, suppose you are a party to the case and you feel that this quasi-judicial body or the lower court is going beyond its powers, you can approach the Supreme Court under Article 32, under the the prohibition. You can approach the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court can issue a direction to the lower court not to proceed and stay well within its limits. So, the writ of prohibition, limits the powers of a lower judicial body or a quasi-judicial body or a subordinate judicial body. It prevents the lower court from proceeding beyond its powers. So, it has not given any order, it has not issued any judgment, but even before it can stop, it can prohibit, the higher court can prohibit a lower court from proceeding in excess of its jurisdiction. So, the writ of prohibition to limit the lower court from proceeding in excess of its jurisdiction, in excess of its jurisdiction. So, because as a party to that case, if you are if a party to that case, your rights will be violated, your fundamental rights will be violated if a court is giving an order in excess of its jurisdiction, beyond its capacity, beyond its powers, if it is issuing an order and it is a violation of your fundamental right. You have a right. So, what is your right? Your right not to be judged by a court beyond its powers. If SEBI has certain powers, it should use only that much power while giving a judgment against you. If it is usurping the power of some other body, or if it is using, or if it is claiming that it has more powers which has no power, as per the law, if it cannot do certain things, if they are trying to do that, then it is a violation of your fundamental rights. That is the meaning of prohibition. And similarly, there is another writ called certiorari. See, certiorari is similar to prohibition. It is again to the lower courts or quasi-judicial bodies, subordinate courts, issued by the higher courts. Why? Now, in certiorari and prohibition, the only difference is in this case, the lower court has given a judgment in excess of its jurisdiction. In certiorari, the lower court has already issued a judgment. It has already given a judgment in excess of its powers. In excess of its powers. It has already crossed the limit, and using that excessive power, it has given a judgment also. in certiorari, the higher court will cancel, quash that order given by the lower court in excess of its powers. So, the higher court, in this case, our Supreme Court will quash, will nullify the order given by the lower court, which is already in excess of its powers. So, prohibition and certiorari both are similar in nature. In prohibition, the lower court is proceeding beyond its capacity and power. In its path itself, it is stopped. It has not given a judgment. It is prevented. The Supreme Court has warned and stopped the lower court from proceeding further because it is going beyond its powers. But in certiorari, it has not only proceeded and is even given a judgment also. So, the judgment itself is cancelled and the Supreme Court has warned and prevented the lower court from proceeding in that manner in future. So, both are for the quasi-judicial bodies and subordinate courts. By a higher court, the only difference is in prohibition, it has not given a judgment in excess by using that excessive power, but in certiorari, it has crossed the limit and even given a judgment. So, this fourth one, and the fifth one is quo warranto. The fifth, writ is quo warranto. So, quo warranto, this is where the Supreme Court is asking, what is your authority? Quo warranto means, what is your authority? This quo warranto is issued against persons holding public office. This is issued against persons holding public office. Again, by the Supreme Court. For what? This is to ensure that the person who is holding this public office is sufficiently qualified to hold the office. Is he or she qualified to hold the public office? This is to check, to find out whether the person is qualified enough to hold the public office. So, any person, say an IAS officer, if there is a doubt by a person that he is not eligible, suppose there are many cases, anybody can file a quo warranto in the Supreme Court against any officer. So, please note, anybody can file. Anybody can file a quo warranto. Recently, there was a case in Kerala, an IAS officer who belonged to an OBC category, or he got through civil services through OBC quota. The neighbors of, his neighbors filed a quo warranto in the court saying that he is an OBC, but he will come under the creamy layer. Okay, but OBC, but creamy layer. Creamy layer cannot claim the OBC quota because the income limit, they are beyond the income limit, and so Supreme Court ordered, inquiry was conducted, district magistrate was asked to inquire about his status. District magistrate found that he cannot be claiming the reservation because he comes under the creamy layer category. So, he is not eligible to utilize this quota or the OBC quota, and he has been dismissed from service under quo warranto. So, what is your authority? Any person holding any public office, whether it is the Prime Minister or any minister or chief minister or any person, any public office, whether it is political or what is an executive office, permanent office, anybody can file a quo warranto against that individual. So, this is against a person holding public office to check whether he is qualified enough to hold the office, and it can be filed any time. There is no time limit for that. So, the writ, even after 10 years, this writ can be issued. So, there are, again, what is your right? How is the right protected in quo warranto? The right is your right not to be ruled or administered by a person who is not qualified to hold that office. Your right is, you have a right not to be under the guidance or the rule of a person who is not qualified. That affects our fundamental rights. So there are 5 writs which can be issued by the Supreme Court as well as the High Courts. The first one is the issue of habeas corpus to protect your liberty. Then mandamus, this is issued to the officers to do their duty. Most of the PILs, in PILs, the government issues directions or command to the officers to do their duty. Then 2 writs to ensure that the lower courts and subordinate courts and quasi-judicial bodies are not violating your right by giving a judgment beyond their capacity and jurisdiction. Prohibition to prohibit the lower court from proceeding in excess of its powers. Certiorari, the order given by the lower court is cancelled or quashed because it is in excess of its powers. And quo warranto is your right not to be ruled or governed or commanded by an officer who is not eligible to hold the office. What is your authority? So we have 5 different writs under Article 32(2). This will ensure through these orders and commands and directions and writs, Supreme Court ensures the fundamental rights of the individual. So that is how Supreme Court become the protector and guarantor of our fundamental rights.